All right, welcome to the October 27th, 2025 AnonCreds Working Group meeting. This is just going to be an open discussion meeting talking about some things that have happened, and then we'll go from there. We are recording it. Remind you, this is a Linux Foundation meeting, so the Linux Foundation antitrust policy is in effect, and this is a LF decentralized trust meeting, so the code of conduct of LFDT is in effect. As far as announcements, I should have added one to this. Oh yeah, I know what it was. I just announced and published to the mailing list that the AnonCreds quarterly report is out. And I will add the link to the PR report for Q4 is out. I'll add to the, as I say, add to the PR of the issue. So people can review that and see if there's anything they want to change or adjust. The gist of the AnonCreds is Hedera added support into checked or for to Credo TS support for AnonCreds using the Hedera blockchain, and that work was done by DSR, so that's now in there, equivalent to the work that was done in Akapai for the same capability. So that's now in Credo as well as in Akapai. Second, most of the other work focused around updating dependencies, getting a release out, and getting the wrappers done. And the biggest driver for that, in addition to just normal good maintenance, is the the Android 16K page limit, which I have no idea what it is, but I know that Android apps have to be upgraded to use a 16K page limit starting in November. So all of the wallets, so everyone sort of got together to update all of the wrappers around any Rust components so that they could be merged into the application and then allowing for a release prior to that deadline. So that's all been done. That was the main work. And then I am going to pause recording and we're going to talk about something separately for a bit that we don't want in as part of the recording. So I'm pausing recording now. All right, we're back. I was going to ask, Mark is here. I was going to ask him what he thought of IIW. So
yeah,
do you want to tell us what your highlights were at IIW?
sure, I can try to. I'm a little bit still spinning. I haven't actually quite made it in yet. I'm sort of starting to get ready to organize my notes and thoughts and stuff like that. But yeah, I can say a few things off the top of my head. Well, we being the Oracle blockchain platform team, because I don't know if you know that yet, Steve, but Harold and I have joined that team now. We're part of it as of 3 weeks ago. And we did a session together, and we're working on a blog post that we'll hopefully highlight in the LFDT newsletter in November. So that'll be hopefully a little bit more organized than what I say now, but I can just say a little bit about that. And then I can also talk about sort of things that come to mind from IIW other than our stuff. So it was a little bit, like I say, we've just joined together with that team and we did a joint session, which included background on the Oracle blockchain platform team's effort to support decentralized identity features such as DIDs and permissioned verifiable data registry and verifiable credentials, including AnonCreds. Adrian and Mike, my two colleagues in that group, presented that and presented a couple of demos, one of which showed using a mobile device and going through sort of issuance and creating a proof, a presentation and verifying it, with the prover being on the mobile device. They did another demo that went through the revocation flow, showing a credential being issued and then revoked, and then seeing that it didn't verify successfully. And then I did an update on our previous on work that we've presented previously at IIW, together with some new work. So the update is basically progress on implementing the abstraction that we have talked about before in this meeting and elsewhere for decoupling verifiable credential formats from underlying zero-knowledge proof and cryptography libraries. So yeah, we've done sort of finished up some of the to-dos that we had and work in progress that we had as of the last IIW, but something more interesting? No, I don't know. I don't need to characterize it. We also talked about our work since then, which is that we have now targeted the AnonCreds version 1 credential format and sort of ecosystem to our abstraction. So I gave a bit of an update on that, and I also have a bigger deck with more detail in it that was going to be, in case things turned out that we would give a session just on that work. But in the end, we pulled a presentation and did a combined session. So that presentation's just got a few slides of update. But what it basically says is, yeah, we've targeted AnonCreds to our abstraction, and therefore we're able to, and there was a demo of this one was pre-recorded because we could only expect so much from the demo gods, who smiled on us. Nice.
Good.
But that demo showed a similar kind of thing, going through issuance and creating a presentation and verifying it, but without revocation. Where the AnonCreds was targeted to our abstraction, and therefore using, instead of the Kamenisch-Lysanskia signature scheme and the sort of baked-in predicates and revocation stuff that's in there, we had all of that running over, I believe it was the AnonCreds version 2 cryptography. It might have been the Doc Network cryptography, but pretty sure it was the AnonCreds version 2. And so we had a little demo there, and it was quite gratifying to hear Adrian say the first time that ran, oh, that went noticeably quicker. We haven't done any, detailed measurements, but it was sort of perceivably significantly faster, creating and verifying proofs, which is nice because that's part of the point, right? There are some limitations that are, one is sort of, we need to finish up, just stuff that we would have ideally been able to do before IAW, but we didn't get there. So we weren't able to do that demo on mobile, with a mobile device, but we're very close to that, and we've built the library for Android and linked it in, but we just have some, some work to do to clean up to get past that. But we hope to be able to do that same kind of demo as was shown on the mobile device, using the AnonCreds, the implementation over our abstraction pretty soon, hopefully. There are some limitations around revocation that are going to require a bit more work, and that is because instead of using the Tails file approach that's baked into AnonCreds, while we don't change the interface, we change what's going on behind the scenes. And so there is a Tails file, just so we don't change the interface, but it does not, it's a fixed size thing. It doesn't matter the number of credentials that can be signed. But because we don't have a tails file, a holder is not able to produce a witness to prove non-revocation sort of out of the blue. Instead, it has to get its original witness, and then it has to apply all of the updates that happen due to, batches of issuances and revocation, and we have not done that yet. So that's, upcoming work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is about it, I think, for our session. It was nicely well attended and had some nice questions and feedback and engagement with folks in the audience, so that was good.
Okay. So some of the work that Andrew Whitehead has done involves a new approach to revocation. Would you be interested in looking at what he's done? It sounds quite similar to what you've done, but what he does is have the issuer publish an append-only log of the revocation so that the witness doesn't, or so the holder can calculate the witness, but doesn't have to have a fixed size tails file up front.
Yes, definitely interested to have a look at that.
Okay. He's got a repo out there. He's got, so I'll send you the summary, but basically what he does is it's 52 bytes per revocation with a new epoch header in the log. And then he publishes a new epoch and accumulator value as the current. So you can go back and get previous ones. And he says 14 milliseconds per 100 revocations to calculate in testing, downloads the updated log and applies any updates since last synced. About 12 milliseconds per 100 revocations in testing, about 2 milliseconds to generate a proof, and it's 160 bytes. So all good statistics. So I'd love to get other eyes on this and see if we can get some energy behind it.
And that's obviously targeted at still keeping Kamieniec Lysanskia and all of the underlying.
This would get tied in with with AnonCreds or potentially other schemes.
Right. And does it change the interface like of the AnonCreds RS library?
I don't know that. I can't answer that.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely be interested to have a look at that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
I'll share that with you. Any other highlights for you from IIW?
Yeah, so I'll mention a few things that it will not be a comprehensive thing because I have, a million photos and notes and stuff that I'll go through. But some things that off the top of my head come to mind for me, and possibly most immediately relevant to this meeting. I guess you weren't there last time either. So Christian Borman last time ran a session on zero knowledge proofs, which was really good, like one of the best sessions, I think. Borman with the, sorry. And he did another one this time, and I sort of got myself a little confused, and I didn't go at first to that session, and I sort of realized later on and showed up for the end of it. But I did have a chat with Christian afterwards, and also he's made his slides available. Maybe I should see if I can quickly share a link to them.
Yeah, that'd be great. I was going to say, can you share the slides? But overall, what was it? This again was an overview of state of the world ZKPs.
Yeah, and an update. So I'll share that link after. We don't need to record me looking for it.
Yeah.
But very interestingly, he reported on work that I was not yet aware of, being done with some other folks, in particular Anya Lehman, and it looks very much in the direction of what I think should I think it's ANYA and LEHMAN, maybe two N's.
Oops.
No, only one N, I think. Yeah.
And Christian?
Sorry.
Sorry, one N where?
Oh, I think Borman has got two N's, if I'm not
Okay, it
mistaken.
does. I thought it did. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
and he shared some slides, like I said, and also a URL to Anya's or one of Anya's web pages, which mentions several papers. And I have not got into any detail of these papers, but I'm certainly keen to. One of them is proposing a modular approach to implementing anonymous credentials to enable sort of progress. I think quantum safe mechanisms is like the main motivation. This is sort of third hand, so I could definitely be getting things wrong.
Yeah.
But it also has all of that goodness that we've wanted with our abstraction approach, that we can replace pieces and adopt, improvements as they're made and so on. And so I hope that work will come to fruition, and it seems like it might be a good thing to target
Okay.
our abstraction to. There's, whether it's another paper or not, I'm not sure, but there's also talk about device binding with ECDSA, similar
Yeah.
to what Google folks did, but claiming some benefits, including better performance. But like I say, I can't say any detail about that at the moment.
And that was ECDSA, but in an unlinkable way.
Yes. Well, that's what I believe based on what I remember, based on what I read
But
from.
but different from Longfellow ZK.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. We heard from the from Manu and associates at the CCG VC data integrity discussions that Longfellow ZK has not added pseudonymous identifier support yet. And so there was talk of them doing that. They mentioned they could do it and it wouldn't be difficult, but they haven't done it, which is
Right.
disappointing. So,
Well, it's
okay.
good to have some diversity in the mix, I think.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard about this, speaking of that, but you mentioned the quantum safe mechanisms. There was a preliminary meeting. Have you heard of SkiSign?
Ski sign.
Yeah,
What is it?
SQISIGN.
No.
So it's SQI pronounced SkiSign. Again, I can put a link in as well, but they did a presentation. So they've got a post-quantum signature scheme that is surprisingly small. So, much smaller than I previously heard for key size, public key size, and for signature size. Like I've always heard, megabytes for those things, but these were in the hundreds, and the public key size was in the tens, like 60 or 70 bytes, 65 bytes, I think, something like that. So interesting. Now, they have not done any work towards using these smaller keys that are quantum safe in anonymous credential scenarios. So that's what the that's kind of what Manu and group were looking for.
Right. Okay. All right.
Cool.
So maybe that's enough about that one. There was
Okay.
quite a bit of buzz around SETI, state endorsed
Yeah.
digital identity. I guess I've got that right.
Yeah.
And had been a meeting out. This is sort of being led by the state of Utah, and there'd
Yeah.
been a meeting there in the weeks before that a lot of people had been at, and there was a lot of sort of buzz and discussion around this. One thing to highlight was a demo by the Viridian folks that was kind of focused on this and on the notion of guardianship. So, to summarize it, as someone who has struggled with the poor tools for managing what your kids can see,
Yes. Yeah.
and then of course privacy, all kinds of complications and implications with that. But they did a demo, which was actually really pretty cool. Um, there's this video game thingy called Roblox. I guess everyone except me
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
about it. Now I've heard
I
about
think I've
it.
heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I don't want to try to characterize it, but it sort of seemed like a little bit like Minecraft, and there's people in there, and parents would like to be able to restrict things like how long can the kid be on, at what times can they be on, with whom are they able to interact, who can know who they are, and all of those kind of things. And so the Viridian guys were demonstrating the ability to do that, and it was really pretty cool. And from what I understand, you really don't want your kids in there without those kind of controls.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but then you also don't want to accept the consequences of some of the more heavy ways of controlling it. So I don't know. I'm not sure I'm doing a good job of summarizing, but that was a cool
I
thing
get you. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
mention. Let's see, what else have I got? Yeah, quite a lot of energy and buzz around my terms. So this is the thing that
Yeah.
Doc and Joyce Searles and their pals are doing, and they announced at the previous IIW that had become a standard. Um, I think it's IEEE 7012 off the top of my head, but I might have got that wrong. And yeah, so it had just been published as a standard last time, and they had several meetings around it. I think I attended one and maybe dropped in for part of another. And they're sort of having this moment of realizing, like, great, we've got the standard done, and now begins all the hard work of making progress on it. So they seem to be gathering some people together to make progress on it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And maybe just to say a little bit about what my terms is, the idea is that instead of the company that owns the website that you're going to dictating, you can either have these options
Yeah.
or go away. My terms says I can express my policies for what I want, and my agent, I guess, will negotiate with the website to make sure that they agree to my terms. Not sure I did a great job of explaining that either, but let's see. Yeah, and then similarly for, sorry, I'll give you a moment to catch up there.
Yeah. Okay.
And that apostrophe on reverses, it's got to go.
Yes, it certainly does. Reverse is.
One of the most offensive things is
I know,
the apostrophe that isn't needed.
and I do
The,
it way
the
too
lack of one
often.
that is needed is hard, but
Yeah.
um,
Thank you.
just give me a second. I've just got to close a door that's been blown open by the wind.
Okay.
Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, we've been having some pretty fun, not so fun weather here in New Zealand, and I feel a bit guilty for having skipped it So I was at IIW in
Yeah,
beautiful California sunny weather while all hell was
yeah.
breaking loose here. Um, all right, so the last thing that I was going to mention off the top of my head was, off the top of my head went blank when I ran to close the door. Oh, the first person project.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So there were quite a few sessions around that. I attended some. I can't say much actually off the top of my head about um, anything that I can remember specifically, but they seem to be gathering some momentum and some activity, so that's good.
Do you, let me ask an awkward question. I still can't figure out what it is, or
Okay.
more precisely, how it works, like how the
Right,
technology works.
right.
Do you feel like you know how it works?
I feel like I've got an idea from some of these sessions, and particularly from the ones at the last IIW.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can try to summarize, I guess. Um, it's basically a foundation for, instead of various companies owning our relationships between each other, um, enabling us to um, attest to and manage our own relationships. So you and I could have a verifiable relationship credential, which says that we know each other. Um, and then, maybe you could go present that to someone to say that you know me, and the usual goodness of not disclosing more than you want to disclose. So you might be able to prove something like, you know, I know 10 people who went to IAW last week.
Yeah.
And you be able to verify just that statement, but not know who those 10 people were. Um, and then because you would own those things, there would not be a company that could decide to revoke those or shut them down or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's kind of growing from the ground up instead of from the top down with companies being in control of it. A sort of authenticatable social network, and I don't mean in the sort of content
Yeah.
sense. I mean in the. So I hope I didn't do too bad a job of that, but that's kind of my
Yeah.
rough
No,
impression
I
of.
and I think I'm there with you. What I don't quite understand is how one would go about saying, "Oh, here's proof." Like, do I give 10 proofs that of people who were given credentials at IIW? And then is there any context around, like, is that 10 different proofs that I would be providing? Stuff like that. That's where
Hmm.
I struggle with
Yeah.
understanding that. And how am I
Well,
going to, what's the difference between those 10? How do I know there's, you know, and yet there's EKPs. Um,
right,
so that's where I struggle is what's the verifier asking for? Is 10
right,
enough? Is it 100? And then how do I construct a presentation like that? So it's those types of
right.
details that I really
Yeah.
don't understand, especially and then just toss in the word CKP on top of that.
Right. Yeah, I'm not really qualified to answer in detail, although I
Okay.
would say
Yeah.
I think that just thinking back to 6 months ago, some of the discussions there, I think that you would be able to present something that says, I know 10 different people who went to IAW last week,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
so if I can't achieve that by giving you 10 unlinkable proofs, because they will, you wouldn't be able to link them to each other if they were about the same person. So
Hmm.
it seems to me you would have one proof which you could verify, which proves the
Yeah.
statement, I know 10 different people who went to IAW last week.
Yeah.
So that's my pretty uninformed guess about it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I'm sure there's a million other things. Um, there
Just a
was,
matter of interest, was there any, did you hear anything on did WebVH at all there if I ask for my own personal reasons?
No, I don't recall
Okay.
hearing anything, but
Yeah.
it's always like 17 fire hoses pointed at you at IAW, so it could have missed
Yeah.
it. But
Do you have are you the type that takes pictures of the board?
I am, yeah. I usually
Oh,
take them just for my own purposes to remind myself
would
of
you,
something of interest.
again, not to put into the notes, but could you send me each day's
Oh, sure. Yeah, you mean
board?
like the schedule board? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be great. I got one. I saw one that somebody posted somewhere from the first day. Eric Scouten, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But he didn't post them from each day. So I'd love to see what the other days were. I
Okay.
did
Yeah.
lots of zooming to look around. Okay, good.
Cool. So I owe you three things: a link to Christian's slides, a link
Yeah,
to Anya's website, and some
yeah,
photos of
yeah.
the
That'd be
board.
great.
Sure.
Excellent.
Cool. Okay.
All
Um,
right.
that's all I've got, I think, off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, you get home safely.
Thank you. That's the plan.
That's really helpful. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay, great. Talk to you next time.
All right. Take care.
Thanks. See you.
Whoops.
Bye.
Bye.